The Uptown Girl herself is with us, Christie Brinkley, still looking so fine, as the song goes. You may remember she was the first model to make the cover of Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue 3 years in a row.
I do remember, but I love that Uptown Girl in that video. 30 years later, she's on Broadway, starring as Roxie Hart in the hit musical Chicago. Hello, Christie Brinkley.
Good morning.
No, you know, it's so funny. We were talking about you this morning, and Tony, the stage manager, you should say hello to Tony there, right there.
He's right. He's
right there.
Hi,
Tony says to me, you listen to this, Christie. When did Christie Brinkley start singing and dancing? So to Tony and to everybody else that wants to wonder, when did Christie Brinkley start singing and dancing? He said with a little skepticism. What do you say, Christie Brinkley?
I say, come check me out at the Pantages Theatre. I'm there till Friday, and then I'm heading off to San Diego, May 8th.
But is singing
we'll
and dancing something you always wanted to do? Let's get into that, because I think Tony raises the point,
want to mention the Pantages Theatre in Los Angeles, because Oprah said she's going to come see me there.
I heard that too, but Christie, I think Tony raises a good point though, because I think most people don't think, you know, we know you in Uptown Uptown Girl, but I think people don't think singing and dancing. So he does raise a good point.
Well,
when does this happen?
And you know what? I think that my first run in Chicago last year, I think a lot of people came to the theater to see the train wreck, and but I think the fact that they asked me to go on and do the show in London and then asked me back this year for an encore performance means that I was capable to carry that role to a certain extent, and everybody brings something to the role.
For sure.
I sort of have like a sort of more of a comedic take on it. So if I mess up, I just laugh, and hopefully they laugh with me. But I actually am. I've worked with the top professionals in the industry.
Well, you're clearly having a good time. You're clearly having a good time.
Absolutely, and you're loving it. We talked a little bit in the green room, but you were joking around in an interview saying you have 2 left feet. But this is, and you, like as you said, you've worked really hard on these numbers. Of course, dancing and singing at the same time, and doing it well.
That's what's been so wonderful about this whole adventure.
Though?
Well, you know, first of all, Chicago, the show that I'm in, it's the longest running American revival on Broadway.
Yes.
And they have guests come in occasionally to play the part of Roxie. And they work with you. And I got to have dance lessons from Anne Reinking. I mean, come on. And Gary Christ, who's like one of the leading choreographers on Broadway. And David Kent works with me every day at the show. And, you know, he's always, I mean, there's room for improvement for sure. You know, where you put your hands matters with Fosse.
I read for the first time that somebody told you that you're too thin. I don't get that, because I look at you at the age of 58. I've been marveling about you, really. I think you look so fantastic. I'm doing Jenny Craig, and I thought, what are you doing? And Christie says to me, Erica, oh, Gail, I had a croissant this morning.
No, you know what?
Croissant, good for you.
The whole croissant or just a bite?
I ate the whole croissant, and I was eyeing the next one, too.
Oh, you look great.
But the only time in my life that I ever heard the words, you're too thin, was after the Broadway run in London. And that's because it is, I mean, this show is very, very physical. I crawl up a ladder, I slide across a chair, I dance through numbers, I run up and down to my dressing room for costume changes, and when I left the role after 11 weeks on Broadway and then 4 weeks in London, I was actually a size 24 jean. I'm a 27 now. And
I'm a 32.
And so the trick is...
I'm not saying what I am, ladies.
But the fact of the matter is, dancing is great for your figure. I mean, if you look at the women that are on stage with me...
Gail, we should start doing the Zumba.
They are...
You and me after the show.
There's one of the girls in our show, Melissa, she comes out in the skimpiest outfit, and the second she walks on, a friend of mine who was in the audience said, the entire audience starts going, abs, 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 abs.
I know that too. But I want to tell you, I've seen you and Peter recently in the news, and there's a lot of back and forth. And I say this to you as someone who's divorced myself, and I know in the heat of battle we can say really unkind things. I plead guilty to that too. I also know what it's like to live with a cheater, pumpkin eater. I understand what that's like and the pain of that. But I wonder how you two are going to move forward and navigate this? Because he calls you a liar, you
can
call
I just
him
say,
a liar, and I'm wondering how you do it.
I have never engaged in the name calling. I want to make that perfectly clear. You cannot find a quote attributed to me.
Well, you called him a name. You're right.
I have never called him a name, and I did not engage. This whole last round of press about this whole thing was totally one-sided. I went on the Today Show.
To respond
no,
to
I didn't feel the need to respond to it. I totally do not. I mean, throughout, for 6 years now, since my divorce has been final, I have said nothing except in court, where I have to, I had to get a divorce.
Well, let me
so I had to go to court.
I saw you talking about it, whether you felt the need or not. I saw you talking about it, and I want to advance the story and figure out or find out from you how you guys are going to navigate, because you've got children that you have to raise together, and I know that it's tough. Number one, you look great, you sound great, do you feel as good as you look? And how are you guys going to navigate going forward?
Well, I mean, I'm heading to California, to the Pantages Theatre, to sing and dance with Chicago.
Is it at the Pantages?
At the Pantages. I mean, this is a gorgeous, I grew up in California, and I am so excited. I mean, that's where I went to see all the plays when I was a kid. And I would sit in that seat, and it's this gorgeous, like, I don't know if it's the style, deco, mission, whatever, but it's one of those old-time theaters with like 3,600 seats.
Can I take this to mean you're going to navigate just fine?
Well, I have been navigating fine. That's what's been upsetting about this whole thing. Is, you know, everybody's like, she needs to move on and not discuss this. I haven't discussed it. I've built a home for my parents. I've started a beauty business from the ground up. ChristieBrinkleySkincare.com. Please come on my site. I have wonderful products. Makes your skin luminous. I've done 11 weeks on Broadway. Last year I learned an entire Broadway play.
And now you're off to the
I
Pantages
never
Theatre.
acted before. I never sang.
We have to let it go there, otherwise we're going to get in trouble and the computer will cut us off.
So yes, I'm going to sing and dance my way through any trials and tribulations.
And where are you in LA again?
Pantages Theatre, May 15th through the end of the month. And San Diego Civic Auditorium, May 8th.
Christie Brinkley, thanks.
So
we'll be right back. You're watching CBS This Morning with us.
She's at the Pantages.
Cirque du Soleil invites